1-888-372-9535. And let's welcome Paulie from Baltimore. Hello, Paulie.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Hi there.
Outstanding show as always. Phil, great to have you on the airwaves here in Baltimore again.
Thank you.
I'm actually down in Virginia Beach with the family, had the SPF 15 on, ready to catch the sun, had the car all packed up, ready to go. And who to my wondrous eyes do appear? I'm asking, but Phill Wood and Tom Davis. I couldn't believe it, guys. I felt like I was back in 2003. I tell you, I moved here about 6 years ago. I live in Fells Point. Was not an Orioles fan at all, and it was hard to be at that time, obviously. And I found your show from 11 to 2 to be the most compelling 3 hours of radio that I've ever. And I've listened to a lot of sports radio, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you two back together again. I hope we have some more shows. I love Dave Johnson. I think he does a great job, but to have Phill Wood and Tom Davis on the same set. And on television, nonetheless.
Yeah, wide set for that, right? We thank you, though, for that. Checks in the mail.
The only time I've regretted having HDTV, but other than that.
That's a bad thing about HD. Every nook and cranny can be seen.
Right. And you hire like a cute summer intern or something to just kind of walk through the set occasionally. But, my question is related to the Norfolk Tides. As I mentioned, I'm down here at Virginia Beach, caught a game last night, saw pitcher by the name of Chris Waters play. Did a great job. I think he struck out like 7 in 6 innings. But my question is actually related to one of the relievers that came in after him. I think it's Paul Lynch. Came in, just pitched 1 inning against, I think struck out Lou Ford. I seem to recall it was a Minnesota Twin pitcher. Minnesota Twin outfielder, I guess.
Right.
But got him out on 3 straight strikes with runners in scoring position, and was wondering if you're familiar with him at all. I'm trying to get some information on him on the internet. I couldn't really find much.
To be honest with you, until you just said his name, I had not heard of him.
He's one of those guys. He's been in the minors for a while. Every AAA baseball is different now than what it was 20, 25 years ago, where your really higher ceiling prospects frequently are in AA ball, and they spend very little time in AAA ball. But there are a lot of guys in AAA ball who were drafted, but they were drafted in later rounds, but they were drafted with the idea these guys are going to be minor leaguers. We have to fill out these rosters. Now, some of these guys will have great stretches and occasionally get called up, but a lot of these guys spend their entire careers, and usually by the time they're in their early 30s, they probably get released and they go on with the rest of their lives. But what you need to do is check the birth dates on these guys, because if they're 26, 27, 28 years old, they're probably not prospects.
The other thing, too, there was like Castillo, the guy they brought up the Orioles the other day. He's 33, and that was his major league debut.
Yeah, but that was a little different.
Because he had been signed since 94.
That's right, but he had played another position. He'd been a position player, and, of course, he had defected from Cuba. Interesting story, because had they not brought him up, I know for a fact they'd had offers for him from other clubs. Yeah, he'd been extensively scouted by some National League clubs.
The other thing, too, on Sunday, the game starts at 1:30. So on the radio, we've got this Orioles Insider Roundtable show starting at noon. And I did an interview this week with Gary Allenson, who's the manager there at Norfolk. And he used to be a catcher for the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays, and he's managed 2 years now straight at Tidewater, and also managed at Bluefield a couple of years before that. And he was talking about how things have somewhat changed along the way, where the prospects, more the hotter prospects, are at AA than they are at AAA now, the way things are stacked. And you've got a lot of what they call 4A players that are, on the AAA level. They're not maybe good enough to make it to the majors, but they're sort of...
They can dominate.
Yeah, but they're some like career minor leaguers, as Phil said.
Yeah, because he seemed like quite a character. He had, laughing because my daughter kept on saying, he's got enormous ears. And they actually put a Dumbo on the screen when he struck out Lou. And so I was confused. I'm like, this guy is... I wasn't sure if you guys knew anything about him.
Well, what you need to find a picture of Don Mossy, who used to pitch for the Indians.
Yeah.
Biggest ears, they look like a cab with the doors open.
Appreciate it. Have a nice
vacation
there. Appreciate it a lot.
Good show.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Ray Narleski and Don Mossy, they were the two relief pitchers for the Cleveland
The 54 Indians club. Very, very good. Great club, and lose the World Series in a sweep to the Giants.
Unbelievable. Take a short break, back with more. Tom Davis, Dave Johnson usually here, but Dave's with the Orioles in Boston, and Phill Wood here today. And we'll be taking more of your phone calls, 410-481-1300 and 1-888-372-9535 on Baltimore's ESPN Radio 1300 and Massive.